calling from a 608 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hello, is this me?
Yep, it is.
Hi, my name is Malachi. I'm in Boston from Wisconsin. I just have something really important, and then I'm going to end with some tweets that, sorry, I'm nervous.
You're doing great.
That just illustrate it. Okay. I've been a part of a Students for Justice in Palestine group in Boston. I'm here for college. I've graduated, but I'm still involved. A big sense I get is that most of the people will not vote for Biden. A lot of revolutionaries who think that, among other reasons, Genocide Joe, lesser of evil voting, got us here. I think as a consequentialist from what I've seen, the outcomes in every regard would be worse under Trump. But there is one person in the group from Lebanon and is there right now. It looks like they won't be attending college this year because of Israel's impending invasion of Lebanon and the possible manufacturing of consent to bomb the airport. I have tried giving the harm reduction argument with Biden v. Trump, and the biggest crux of the argument, which isn't just a simple moral voting argument, it seems to be if Trump was doing what Biden is, or even worse, allegedly, if that's possible, their POV, not mine, then Democrats would rally together to stop it. The international community would do more. American hegemony is falling around the world. Trump being terrible would push that further along geopolitically as well as domestically. Since Democrats are supporting genocide under Biden, we have less effective means because under Trump there would be a united front against the common enemy. Now, they're a smart person who hasn't followed electoral politics in this country like you or even me in my very limited sense. And I just want to read their tweets, which are private, and get your help because I really care about this person and the movement. And I want to push the most effective means to the best end, but I don't want allies or leftists to think I'm a monster for voting Biden if I end up doing that. Responding to a quote about the Biden administration very feebly tried to acquire a ceasefire in Gaza less than a month later, is giving the green light to Israel for its fourth invasion of Lebanon in less than 50 years. Hope all my voting Biden because it's our best option, minimizes damage at least, peers. Remember that the minimized damage you're referring to and the compromise you're willing to make is my blood and the blood of my family and friends, as so many Democrats before you have. You are too comfortable to push this country into real substantial change because you're privileged enough to be unimpacted by the unending terrors of your fucked oppressive two-party system. You won't be dying, so why should you consider the inconvenience in changing anything, yeah? They responded to the following tweet talking about a hate crime that happened recently. This is one of those stories where when it happened under Trump, everyone rallied to defend Muslims. However, just like the 6-year-old who was stabbed 26 times, or the 3 young men who were shot for wearing keffiyehs, this is happening under Biden, so there's silence. Always trying to explain this to people. I'm not dumb. I know it, of course, have been awful under Trump, but can you imagine how many libs would have been enraged in restless protesting had they been able to use it as leverage, political vindication for their own party and its image? Makes me dizzy. Lesser of two evils voting got us where we are today. Everything everywhere is so much worse than it ever has been across the board with no end in sight. How much time do we really need until you lot realize this? Our time is cut shorter with every passing day. Wake up, grow up.
Okay. I mean, I get the point. I get the gist where they're coming from. I mean, I think like there is an argument to be made that were Trump president now doing this, there would be wider protests because many of the things that Trump did that liberal left Democrats might have a problem with, like, for instance, Muslim ban or immigration, became sort of like slotted into this polarization. But I think... and I think
all that amounts for is getting, Democrats who aren't sincere about, say, abolishing ICE, getting emails, and then eventually they'll just flip. Like, I think that's the main problem with the analysis is that, like, it's not really a point of leverage over these folks. Like,
no, and I think, like, look, I think there is a legitimate argument that. And when you say two-party system, or when they say two-party system, this duopoly that has the, American imperialism or the attempts at hegemony, it's not just a function of the two parties. The two parties is just the vehicle in which that impetus incentivizes itself. I don't think that there's actually, necessarily. I wouldn't argue with somebody whose family is in Lebanon, who doesn't want to vote for Joe Biden. I think there's better time spent, frankly, because, I could certainly understand having that level of of such deep personal stakes that it becomes sort of just like too difficult, where my emotions, just override any type of analysis in voting. But voting is not, should not be how you vote should not be an emotional exercise. You can get emotion from it, I guess, and feel good or bad about the way that you vote. I mean, I certainly am not going to feel good about voting for Joe Biden, but I'm going to feel better than I would if I enabled Donald Trump. I mean, that's just the fact. But that's not why I do it. It's not about how I feel. It's just simply, if you are a progressive or even a liberal for that matter, or even a, leftist, there's just, you are a member of multiple constituencies. And the majority of those are going to be helped more by having a Democratic administration than a Republican administration. That's the simplest way I would put it.
Yeah, I mean, the morality is one thing, but just analytically, the reason for like Western support of Israel is not people deciding in a two-party system to do lesser of two evil voting. Like that's just fundamentally a vote shaming argument. And I don't shame people who don't vote for Biden over this, but I also think it's a similar failure of analysis to blame the voters for it if they do decide to vote for Biden for that reason.
And Bullprog makes the good point that Ilhan Omar was condemned by many Democrats for critiquing Israel while Trump was president. And this is while Trump is, moving the embassy to Jerusalem. I mean, Trump emboldened Netanyahu. Make no mistake about that.
Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate the call. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think just move on from what the difference is on election day and say, what else are you doing? Because I think if, say, someone from Lebanon or talk to Palestinians who are like, would like be nice to get some movement on the Rafah crossing. If you just tell them, if they ask you, what have you been doing? It's not what I have been doing. It's what I didn't do, which is I didn't vote for Biden. You're welcome. Like, it's not saying much, get involved with a movement.
Dark Soul says the same thing. There's no revolutionary aspect to not voting. If you're depressed as a voter, that's one thing. But to say that it's some revolutionary idea not to vote is idiotic. Why not vote and do work elsewhere where you can, so if you're so revolutionary? I mean, that is, yes, the point. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.